As for this text, Pramanavartika, amongst the Indian commentators, there are two primary Indian commentators. Their names, one is Lubin Hawang Lo, Acharya Hawang Lo, one commentator, Hawang, L-H-A-W-A-N-G, Hawang Lo, L-O, Hawang Lo. And the other one is the Acharya Gen Kempo, G-Y-E-N, Gen, K-H-E-N-P-O, Gen Kempo. So these are the two, G-Y-E-N, Gen, K-H-E-N-P-O, Gen Kempo. And the first one is Acharya Hawang Lo. In Tibetan, Lopin Hawang Lo, Lopin, L-O-P-O-N, Lopin. Or L-O-E, Lopin, L-O-E-P-O-N, Lopin. Lopin means Acharya, like the scholar, Pandit. Lopin Hawang Lo. How many of you can write in Tibetan? Raise your hands. Okay, only one. Okay, Hawang, La Dal Ha, Tawang Awang Hawang, L-H-A-W-A-N-G, Hawang, L-O, Hawang Lo. Other one is Lopin, L-O-P-O-N, Lopin, same. Lopin, Gen Kempo, G-Y-E-N, K-H-E-N-P-O. Ragadagani Gyan again, Maukana Ken Panarpo, Gen Kempo. Okay, so these are the two prominent commentators on Acharya, the Dharmakirti text. And as for the Tibetan commentaries, there are many commentaries. And the one which we base on is the commentaries by the two the students of Lama Tsongkhapa, Gyaltsar Rinpoche and Kyudo Rinpoche. And here, when I translated this text, in fact, it so happened that, okay, it be interesting for you to know the little background about this translation. What happened was that there was one girl who was doing PhD on the relationship between the brain and the mind. And she was insisting that I should teach her. She was asking as to where can she find the materials on the relationship between the brain and the mind in the context of Buddhism. So I said the best book is Pramanavartika chapter 2. She told me to teach this. And till that point, I did not know the existence of the English translation of this chapter 2. And then I said, bring the text in English, I will teach you. And then she could not also track it. And then it went like 3 years went by. Again, she was insisting, please teach me. Then finally, I was sitting for my personal retreat for about like nearly 1 month. And then I felt that, okay, so the person is so dependent on me teaching this, and the material is not there. The person is so keen to learn, and I could not help. So now the retreat, I will sacrifice a part of this retreat on translating this. Same part of this retreat, mornings I sit my retreat, afternoons I can translate this. So I started translating this. Then translating this into English, that helped me a lot. In fact, sometimes you won't believe I get stuck with just one stanza whole afternoon, because it's very complicated how to translate this to make sure that the original version is not altered to the best I can, to be loyal to the original version. And then the meanings can be understood in various angles by the different commentators. So we should try to stick to as to the best we can to be loyal to the author, in the first place, Acharya Dharmakirti. And so this is how it came. Then finally, I came to realize that after translating this, then somebody told me that there's already a translation. Already there's a translation. And not only translation, commentary on this also translated into English. Then later I found the book, but I did not go through them. And then other people, they say that, yes, but the translation is not accurate. So I'm happy that I translated it. Okay, so the point is that the translation is other translations are there. One translation for sure is there with a commentary by Gyaltsab Rinpoche. But the accuracy, I didn't go through that myself because I do not have time. Even this I translated to my retreat time. So just to help this girl to do her PhD. Then the other translation, the book I saw, but I didn't go through the book. Some very standard scholars, they gave me the feedback that there are some technical factual mistakes there, factual errors in the translation. Okay, so this is what I like to give a little bit of background. And if you want to refer to that translation, you can, but with the caution that there can be a mistake, and you have to double check with somebody who knows the text. It's very important. One. Then there are the outlines. In Tibetan we call it sache, outlines, meaning say those italicized, those in the italics. These are the outlines not from the root text. These are outlines which I mainly took from Khedru Rinpoche's commentary. Khedru Rinpoche, the second Ganden, the Ganden Rinpoche, Ganden, the throne holder of Lama Tsongkhapa's the tradition, second throne holder, Khedru Rinpoche. His commentary. On that basis, I picked up the outlines and where, because this is not a commentary, it's just the root text. The Khedru Rinpoche at times when he was going through the detailed commentaries, within the commentaries he gave more outlines. So these I took the liberty to crunch, to shrink the outlines, some of them. Otherwise, the main outlines that we find here is on the basis of Khedru Rinpoche's commentary. Okay, just for information. Okay, now let's read page 1. Okay, Pramanavartika. Pramana means, Pramana is the tsema in Tibetan, tsema, the valid cognition. Tsema, valid cognition, or the valid one, or the reliable one. It has many connotations. Tsema, reliable one, valid cognition, Pramana. Okay. Vartika is the commentary, explanation, commentary. Now, this Pramanavartika, and particularly chapter 2, Pramanavartika, we see that, of course, first let me give you the broad picture of the Pramana, of the whole book, Pramanavartika. What we're doing is chapter 2, but it has 4 chapters. Pramanavartika per se has 4 chapters. The first one is to convey the concept, the skill to convey the concepts to help others. The first one is the chapter on skills to convey the concepts to others. In other words, to help others. How to instill the wisdom, how to instill the valid cognition in others. Number 1. Chapter 1. Then convey the concept. We have to create the concepts within us. First, how to create the concept within us. Chapter 1 is how to create the concept within us. We have to know how the psychology works, how the logic works to create the proper concept within us. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is known as the chapter related to the self. Self meaning to create these concepts for the self. This chapter 1. Now chapter 2 is interesting. Chapter 2 is to establish the reliable guide, to establish the tsema, to establish the Prince Siddhartha, later as the Buddha Shakyamuni, as the reliable guide. Chapter 2. Then chapter 3 technically it is known as the chapter on the direct experience or direct cognition. Direct experience or direct cognition. Chapter 3. This I will explain a little bit later now. Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is a follow-up of chapter 1. Chapter 1 is to create a conception, create a concepts within yourself. Within yourself, create the concepts of the valid cognition, what is valid cognition, to know all these concepts within yourself. Then chapter 4 is what you have understood, what you have conceived. This, now you have to express it. How the skill to express, skill to articulate the concepts to others. That is chapter 4. The skills, chapter 4 is on the skills to articulate the concepts to help others. Chapter 4. Skills to articulate the concepts to help others. Okay, so chapter 1 is to create the skills or the concepts for yourself. Chapter 2 is to establish the reliable guide. The Buddha Shakyamuni is the reliable guide. Chapter 3 is the chapter on the direct experience or direct cognition, direct valid cognition. Then chapter 4 is to acquire the skill to articulate the concepts to help the other beings. Okay, now to go a little bit into chapter 3, direct experience. Finally, so with all these things, what are you going to do is to learn the skills yourself, to the psychology, the logic, and how to articulate the concepts within yourself. After learning all these things, what should we be doing? We should follow the Gade, Para Samgade, Bodhi Swaha. So, how, in what way? Chapter 1 helps us to create the concept so well. So what is the concept? What's the concept that you want to create? After, for example, say, okay, to build a house, we need this. All these, the scaffolding and the machineries all came here. What are you going to build? A house. So through what? Through the materials. Which materials? Cement, steel, and so forth. Which materials? Likewise, we learn the art, the skill of articulating the concepts within yourself. What concept do you want to articulate? What concept do you want to articulate? The concept which you understand, the concept, understanding of which is known as the wisdom. The concept, whatever concept of emptiness, concept of the emptiness of external reality, concept of the emptiness of objective existence, whatever. Emptiness as explained by the lower schools, Chitamatra, Swatthana Madhyamika, Prasanga Madhyamika, whatever concept, the philosophy. So this philosophy, on the basis of which, understanding which is referred to as the wisdom, and cultivating this wisdom will take you to the Gade, Para Samgade, Bodhisattva. So this wisdom should have the content. That content is the concept which we like to create on the basis of the skill that you acquire from chapter 1. So what is that concept? So this Pramanavartika, written by Acharya Dharmakirti. I don't think he is your classmate, right? Okay, Acharya Dharmakirti. Okay, we call some respect to him. Acharya Dharmakirti. Okay, so he composed this, and Acharya Dharmakirti, what is his philosophical standpoint? This is the question. What is his philosophical standpoint? This is the question. So we cannot really for sure, 100% we cannot be sure what philosophy that he's following. We cannot be sure. But how we judge is on the basis of the legacies that he left. Of the legacies that he left, Pramanavartika, this is the most excellent, the classic legacy that he left. So Pramanavartika, if you Go there, chapter 3. Chapter 3 is all about Chetamatra philosophy. Chapter 3 is all about Chetamatra philosophy, mindfulness school philosophy. So mindfulness school philosophy is explained in great detail in chapter 3. So the concept which we are to understand, which we are to articulate after acquiring the skill from chapter 1, what concept are you going to articulate? The concept of the Chetamatra philosophy. What is that philosophy? Emptiness of external reality. Right? Where Chetamatra says that nothing external exists. What we say is external. This is all just your mental creation. Nothing is really there as external. It's all the nature of your mind, right? It's just everything is the nature of your mind. Nothing is really there externally. Emptiness of externality. Emptiness of external reality. So this is what is presented in chapter 3 in great detail. Okay, so this is chapter 3. Now, some of you may have a feeling. Some of you may now newly develop a feeling that, okay, we thought that Pramanavartika is something so important. Now we come to realize it's Chetamatra. It's not really even not really Madhyamika, let alone within Madhyamika Prasangika. It's Chetamatra. So no, it's not really right choice. Okay, don't worry. What is important is that we need to know two things: the structure of the Buddha's teachings and the content of the Buddha's teachings. The structure and the content, two. Container and the content. Container and the content. From Pramanavartika, what we learn the container. Container and the content we add from Aranyagārjuna. You getting it? Pramanavartika, we learn the content. It's so beautiful, amazing. With this Pramanavartika, chapter 1, 2, 4. Chapter 1, 2, 4. With these three chapters, you become very confident in what you are saying, what you're thinking, and the path. It becomes very clear, the structure. Right? With the structure, the content. The content, we must add Aranyagārjuna's philosophy. So the container presented by Acharya Dharmakirti and the content presented by Aranyagārjuna. Further commented by Acharya Chandrakirti. So the content should be the Aranyagārjuna's philosophy commented by Acharya Chandrakirti. So this should be the content, and the container, the structure of the path should be the Pramanavartika. So in other words, for the computer, the hardware should be the Pramanavartika, and the software is Aranyagārjuna's philosophy. Right? So this is, we need both. And this is amazing. You will get such a confidence. And on this basis, study Pramanavartika very well, chapter 2, and if possible chapter 1 and chapter 4 as well, and then particularly chapter 2. From this you come to know what is real dharma. And then your faith in the dharma, what you're doing, becomes very firm and established, not at all shaky. Okay, this is very important. Okay, with this in mind, if somebody asks you, what is the content matter of Pramanavartika? Particularly chapter 2, what's the content matter? Chapter 2, the content matter, and we say that in a loose sense to establish the Buddha Shakyamuni as the reliable guide. From this, what we learn is precisely, rationally, how can we understand the state of nirvana? How can we understand the state of Buddhahood? What is nirvana? Precisely, logically, how can I know whether or not nirvana is possible, whether or not Buddhahood is possible? So, oh yes, somebody told me. No, of course it is yes, it's possible. Through these reasonings, you become very confident. So, rationally establishing the efficacy of the nirvana and the efficacy of Buddhahood. This is the main subject matter of this Pramanavartika chapter 2. And alongside the path which takes you there, the path which takes you to nirvana, the path which takes you to the Buddhahood. So this is the subject matter of chapter 2. Okay, now as an auspicious indication, let's turn to page 1 of the Pramanavartika. So chapter 2, establishing the reliable guide. Establishing reliable guide to nirvana and Buddhahood. Okay, so the words of salutation, Pramanavartika. So this word of salutation is not from chapter 2, it's from chapter 1. I took it from chapter 1. So this word of salutation, in other words, this word of salutation is a word of salutation for all the 4 chapters. This word of salutation is from Pramanavartika for all the 4 chapters. So in Tibetan it reads, in English, the one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations, that is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays, to you the Buddha I make prostrations. Okay, so this is from this you will see the subject matter of this Pramanavartika. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations. So the first line teaches the Dharmakaya, and I explain how. The first line is the teaching on Dharmakaya. Then number 2 is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound. This is the Rupakaya, or the form body of the Buddha. The first one is the Dharmakaya, truth body of the Buddha. Dharmakaya, or the truth body of the Buddha, Chuku. Number 2 is the form body, or Rupakaya, in Tibetan, Suku. Then number 3, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays. This is the Buddha's activities, Buddha's the profound activities, profound deeds. To you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. Okay, now let me quickly explain this. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualization. So there, your conceptualizations of the misconceptions, ignorance. We said that all miseries are because of the contaminated karmas, which in turn are because of afflictions, which in turn are because of the inappropriate attention, which in turn are because of the self-grasping ignorance. So we have to get into self-grasping ignorance. Self-grasping ignorance in order to achieve nirvana. Then what about Buddhahood? For the Buddhahood, self-grasping ignorance is like the garlic. Say somebody smashes garlic in the mug, and I don't take garlic. Then you feel so apologetic. You remove the garlic, wash it so well. Is there solid garlic left now? No, you cannot pick up any trace of garlic there. But smell it, it still smells garlic. So the self-grasping ignorance, contaminated karmas, afflictions, inappropriate attention, the self-grasping ignorance, they are like the solid garlic. They are like this solid garlic. Once you remove the solid garlic, once you remove that, self-grasping ignorance, all these which we described this morning, once you remove that, this will help you to achieve nirvana. Now, solid garlic is removed, but the smell is left. Remove the smell. Smell is the metaphor for cognitive obscurations. Obscurations which stop you from achieving Buddhahood. Remove the smell, and then you achieve Buddhahood. Which is more difficult to remove, the solid garlic or the smell of the garlic? Smell of the garlic, far, far more difficult. So therefore, eradicating the solid garlic, which is metaphor for what? Metaphor for contaminated karmas, afflictions, inappropriate attention, self-grasping ignorance. So these are the solid garlic. Remove them and you achieve nirvana. You achieve the fearlessness. Then the smell is left. That is cognitive obscurations. Remove the smell, the cognitive obscurations, you achieve Buddhahood. Okay, so these are the two things. Now, removing these two stains, removing these two metal stains, your Buddhahood inside, the seed, the Buddha nature inside becomes manifest. The gold when mixed with the soil, is there anyone who knows about a little bit about gold, the purity of the gold? Knows about that? Some are less pure, some are more pure. Is there anyone who knows about gold? 24 karat. What else? 24 karat is the purest is the 24 karat. Oh, I see. Then, but what about 25? There's nothing known as 25. Then 22. Okay. 24, 22, 18. Then? Who's that? Who's the 10? Okay, didn't you? Okay, so let's say some gold are not so pure. And particularly if the gold taken out from the extract from the gold ore, from the gold mine, then the gold ore, for us there's no gold there. It's just a soil. It's just soil there. There's no gold there. But in the eyes of the experts, they see gold there. How do they convince us that there's a gold there? How do they convince us? Remove the soil from the gold. Remove the soil. As the soil is more, then the gold becomes purer. So as the soil is removed completely, then it becomes 24 karat gold. Yes? Okay. As the soil is removed completely, then the gold glows in its maximum. So initially, as soil is removed, then it starts to glow. When it removes the soil completely, then it glows perfectly. So the Buddha, the gold is inside us. Perfection is inside us. Fearlessness is inside us. Infinite happiness is inside us, but in a dormant state. Because they are in the dormant state, we don't say that we have the Buddhahood. We have the seed of Buddhahood. Remove the soil, mental soil, then this seed is no more seed. It becomes a manifest Buddha. It becomes a manifest enlightenment. Okay, so we see that the qualities, when each one of us, when we become Buddhas, what happens is that we gain qualities. What kind of qualities? Primarily two. The qualities for the perfection of one's own benefit. Number two, the qualities of perfection of benefit for others. Two, then on the basis of these two qualities, then one's activities to benefit others. These activities come into being. One, the quality of the perfection of the benefit for yourself, that is Dharmakaya. Qualities related to the perfection of oneself, perfection of one's own benefit, that is Dharmakaya. Then the qualities primarily meant for the perfection of the other's benefit is the Rupakaya. Rupakaya, number two, line 2. Then from these two perfections, then your deeds, your activities flow spontaneously to benefit. That is number 3. Who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays of benefit to sentient beings. Okay, so the first line says, the one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations, the mental stains in the form of various conceptualizations in the form of ignorance, conceptualizations in the form of afflictions, conceptualizations in the form of inappropriate attention, contaminated the conceptualization in the form of contaminated karmas, affliction, self-centered attitude, self-grasping ignorance, all these conceptualizations you remove, your mind becomes so pure. That is the quality of the Dharmakaya. Then the next is, and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound. So sentient beings, they will be benefited through your physical bodies, they will be directly benefited because the sentient beings, for them to receive benefit from you, they have to come in contact with you. How to come in contact? Through your physical bodies. So, Rupakaya, the form body. Number 2, and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound. Okay, the vast and the profound. Profound, referring to the, within the form body, there are two. Enjoyment body and the emanation body. Enjoyment body in Sanskrit, Sambhogakaya, and emanation body in Sanskrit, Nirmanakaya. Okay, so the vast referring to the Nirmanakaya, and the profound referring to the Sambhogakaya. Okay, now we have three kayas there. Three kayas meaning Buddha's bodies. So the three Buddha's bodies are there. So with these three Buddha's bodies, then the beings are benefited. So the metaphor is given, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays. Rays are immediate. Rays are the metaphor for the deeds, activities of the Buddhas to benefit the beings. Activities of the beings. Who is doing that? To you, the Buddha, I make prostration. So profound, so profound. Okay, now how can you achieve that state of Buddhahood, which is going to be endowed with the Dharmakaya, which is going to be endowed with the vast form body of the Nirmanakaya and the profound form body of the Sambhogakaya, and be able to radiate the light rays of benefit to all sentient beings? How to achieve that? So this is what the Acharya Dharmakirti is going to teach on the basis of Acharya Dignaga's two lines. Okay, next. Words of salutation to the compassionate Buddha from Acharya Dignaga's Pramanavartika Companion Treatise of Valid Cognition. Okay, so if you want to know what is the actual root text of chapter 2, you will see from page 4. Page 4 in the bold. All the letters in the bold, they are the root texts. All others, particularly the outlines, they are addition from Khedru Rinpoche's commentary. The ones in italics, they are all from Khedru Rinpoche's text. Otherwise, the root texts are all in bold. Okay, from page 4. Okay, the next. The page 1 again, go back to page 1. In the middle, words of salutation to the compassionate Buddha from Acharya Dignaga's Pramanavartika, in English, Compatible Treatise on Valid Cognition. So the first one, which we read earlier, that was by Acharya Dharmakirti. Now, whole chapter 2 came from Acharya Dignaga's two lines. Whole chapter 2 was written as a commentary on Acharya Dignaga's two lines. What are the two lines? The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teacher, Sugata, and protector to yogic prostrations. Okay, this morning we did a little explanation of the summary of what these two lines they teach in terms of the forward order and the reverse order to establish the Buddha Shakyamuni as the reliable guide to enlightenment. We said that. And now to go a little in detail, the one who has transformed into the reliable guide. Reliable guide, or the reliable guide, to take us, a reliable guide to take us from the state of suffering to enlightenment, to Buddhahood. The Nirvana and Buddhahood. Okay, this is the main thesis. So how do we know that this Prince Siddhartha has become Buddha Shakyamuni in the form of the reliable guide to take us to enlightenment? How do we know this? On the basis of this we know on the basis of the four premises. The four premises, 4 reasons. What are the 4 reasons? Motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, number 1. Okay. Number 2, the teacher. Number 3, Sugata. Number 4, protector. To you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. So this is what we said. Now, on the the first one, the one who has transformed into the reliable guide. So when we look at the Buddha Shakyamuni, he's the reliable guide. But not only that, we are taking him as a role model. We are taking Buddha Shakyamuni as a role model, and we should also become a reliable guide. In other words, number 1, reliable guide or whatever. Number 1, what we seek is what? What do we seek? What do we seek? Oh, raise hands, raise hands. What do we seek? Hey. What do we seek? Yes? Huh? Okay, we seek peace. Infinite happiness. Fearlessness. Okay, very good. So what we do is, now in this class, we should be a little technical. Right? Don't be too, let us not be too vague. We try to be consolidate what we learned already. From there, if you can consolidate. Your concepts are very important. Your concepts, try to translate them into the language which we learned already. So what we seek is fearlessness and infinite happiness. So this is for us, if you meet people on a street, then you can say what we seek. Everybody seeks fearlessness. Everybody seeks the infinite happiness. Then everybody will agree whether the other person is Muslim, Buddhists, Jains, Christians, Hindus, scientists, non-believers. Everybody will accept. But if you said everybody seeks nirvana, everybody seeks Buddhahood, they will say, no, who told you that? Right? So this is the language. So here we are into the systematic and technical. We should be able to pick up the technical words. Then with the commoners, we should be able to speak the same concept in the vernacular language, where finally is to benefit the beings. It's not to convert people to Buddhism. It's not to make somebody Buddhist. This is not the point. The point is that the person should learn how to get the fearlessness. And person should learn how to get the maximum happiness. This is the whole point. If that is happening, the whole goal is accomplished. It's not that, we should increase the number of the Buddhists, right? So that we will not be subjugated by the people from other religions. It's not the point. The point is to make others happy, to make others be free from suffering. This is the point. Okay. So with this, how to become, this Prince Siddhartha has become the role model for us. But how can we become one like him if he's the role model? So for that matter, we have the goal there, which is the reliable guide. And then the path, we have to go from where we are, we have to go. So the place where we are is not the desirable state. From this we want to go to the desirable state of the where the Buddha Shakyamuni went. Okay, so what connects us to where we are now, to the state of what he achieved? That is known as path. You get it? Where we are now, which connects us the two things, where we are to the Buddhahood or the ultimate happiness. What takes us closer, what connects us between the two? This is your path. You're getting it? Okay, so but this the path Acharya Dharmakirti, Acharya the Dignaga, he presented so well. This path should have two components. One is the perfection, or the correct motivation, correct the driving force of the motivation. This is one. The motivation must be correct. Then number two is the actual action. Motivation must be translated into action. Motivation, without the motivation, then even if you have a tremendous potential, you will not move. So motivation will make you move. What motivation? Then what is the action that you're going to take? With the motivation, okay, I want to really help others, or I should make sure that the poor people there, they get some shelter. If you have very strong motivation, it will make us move, right? I personally, this is what I've seen this is my personal experience, that some people are not so intelligent. Some people are extremely intelligent. They attend the same class. For example, say my classes. And then say, some people, they attend the class simply because they have to. And others, they attend with interest. One, there's a driving force, very strong motivation there. Other, motivation is not there. Or the motivation not there, intelligence is exceptional. The one, intelligence not so much, but motivation is exceptional. Finally, who wins? One with the motivation, the person has a lot to say, and all what I'm saying later on, person was able to synchronize, able to see the compatibility of what was taught earlier, later, all these things the person can sync so well, put them together so well. Whereas the one without the motivation, though very intelligent, I ask a very simple question later on, the person gets lost. Simply because the motivation is not there. When the motivation is not there, receptivity closes. Receptivity is not there. Without the receptivity, one learns nothing. So therefore, the motivation makes you to act. And with the action, then you accomplish. This is the point. So, this path should have the motivation and the action. What is motivation? What is action? What is the goal? First, what is the goal? The goal is to become the reliable guide in a technical sense. In a simple sense, in simple terms, to achieve fearlessness and to have the infinite happiness. In a technical sense, to achieve the state of perfection, to become a reliable guide. How is the path? How is the path? So this path is considered of two parts. One is the motivation and the other is the action. What is the motivation? Motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. This is the goodness of the motivation. The motivation must be very correct and extremely beneficial or benevolent motivation. Then what is the action? What action that you're going to take? Action is the Sugadara. Okay. Sorry, action is a teacher. Number two, the teacher. What teacher? To teach. Finally, with the motivation to help others, you should be able to, only by teaching others that others can be benefited. So you have to teach. So these two are the driving force, the motivation of altruism, and the action of giving teaching by becoming a teacher. So these two are the path. With these two paths, what will be accomplished? What will you accomplish? The goal. The goal is twofold. The maximum benefit yourself and maximum benefit for others. Maximum benefit for yourself is Sugata. And maximum benefit for others is protector. So Sugata is the maximum benefit that you achieve for yourself, and the maximum benefit that you achieve for others is by becoming the protector. Okay, so this is the overall review, overall picture, summary of what we're going to study. Okay, so for this, this has further two parts. The main thesis is to prove or to learn, to establish that there is a reliable guide. There is somebody who has achieved the state of perfection. This is the main thesis. How to establish that is with the help of 4 premises. And the 4 premises, with the help of these 4 premises, we will establish that reliable guide or somebody achieving Buddhahood is possible. So, these four reasonings, which Acharya Dharmakirti enumerated here. So this can be used in 2 ways. One, in the forward order, proper sequence. We study these 4 reasons in a proper order. The first lead you to understand the second, which is the teacher. Understanding the teacher will lead you to understand the third. What's third? Sugata. And understanding Sugata will make you to understand the protector. So once you understand the protector, then you deduce that yes, Buddha Shakyamuni is indeed the reliable guide. Okay, this is one way. This is known as the the reasoning of the forward reasoning, or the reasoning of the reasoning of the 4 points in forward order to establish the reliable guide. 1. Number 2, the reasoning of the reverse order of the 4 points to establish the reliable guide. Number 2. So the whole chapter is split into these 2 sections. So what we're going to study is the first part of these 7 days. Okay, good. Okay, before we go any further, I should give you a warning. Okay, so say, I'm sure. First, let me share with you my personal, a small experience. When I was in my monastery as a student myself, I was so keen to study more. And then to the extent that I sought permission from my teacher that I'd be allowed to join my senior class. Okay. Then because even my senior class, we were, this is the tradition there. We have a constant interaction, debates with your seniors, with the juniors, with your classmates. This is the constant trend. So I thought that, okay, seniors, they are senior, but with the studies, there's not much difference. Even the juniors, there's not much difference between us, the studies, because we constantly interact. And the seniors, they already studied one particular text, Abhidhamma-kosh. To be very precise, Abhidhamma-kosh, they already studied for some time. And I was just newly joining there. And I thought that Abhidhamma-kosh is not that complicated, not complicated like the logic, emptiness, and so forth. So I attended. And then to my amazement, what happened was that I was getting nothing, literally nothing. And all the students who are 1 year senior to me, they were asking questions to the teacher, and teacher was throwing questions back to them, and they were giving answers. How come that they understand all these things? I don't understand anything. I'm just a stupid guy here. This was what came to my mind. I really, literally, I felt so demoralized and I felt so hopeless. Still, I pursued. Then, after about 1 or 2 months, another teacher, one of my teachers, he was giving the same teaching, Abhidhamma-kosh, and the commentary that he was reading was a very simple one, not the detailed one. The first teacher was going to detail, explaining in detail, debating and so forth. Second teacher was using a very simple commentary and much more like browsing through. And the second time, when I was receiving the teaching on the same topic, literally I could understand almost everything. Then I realized that it's not that, say if you don't understand the first time, we should not give up. We have already planted. You think that you did not get anything, but you have learned a lot. You have learned a lot in the form of imprints. And you learn it the second time, you see that it's so easy. Okay, this is the assurance that I'm giving to you through my own experience. So the point is that at times you may feel that it's too technical, I don't understand it. You are understanding something, right? The seed is being implanted, you are getting something. And then even in the group discussions, you may feel demoralized. Some of you may feel demoralized that they know so much, I don't know anything, I'm just like a dumb fool in front of all these people. You may feel like this. Don't compare with other people. Don't compare with other people. What you are learning a lot. And most of the people who have a lot to say, they're already exposed to these studies way ahead of time, the last many years. So, in a way, you are very fortunate that, like the undergrad students sitting with the PhD students, you are very lucky. Otherwise, you don't get the opportunity to sit with the PhD students when you're undergrad. Right? You should be feeling so proud that I'm now in the same class as the PhD students. You should be feeling proud and happy rather than feeling demoralized. Okay, this is so important. And you won't believe the pace Finally, there's no choice. Everybody, as long as you want happiness, as long as you don't want suffering, sickness, aging, death, tension, anxiety, stress, depression, if you don't want to go through these tensions in the future lifetimes, this is the only way. This only way. There's no choice. And you can't do it. We all have this seed of perfection inside us. We can do it. And how fast you want to do it? Hey, how fast you want to do that? Slow? As soon as possible, right? As soon as possible. If you want to do it as soon as possible, you should be with the good companion, with the PhD program students, right? That will take you faster. So therefore, it's a great opportunity for us. Instead of feeling demoralized, you must be feeling so happy that I'm with the PhD students. So they will drag me towards enlightenment very soon, very quickly, right? This is how we should maintain the positive thinking. Otherwise, no, I'm not. So we have to recognize that I'm just, they say, like somebody undergrad, right? And then how can you really express for someone like me? Those students, 1 year senior to me, they already studied this text a few months ago. They already started this. They already have the and then I felt so demoralized. I do not think that they know more. I know this is not comparison I did, but I thought that what happened to me? I'm not knowing anything. What happened? And then the second time I went to the same teaching. The second teacher was not really going to any detail, just brushing through, explaining a little bit, and brushing through. And literally, I was understanding everything. Likewise, by no means we are different. We are all the same. So those some of you less exposed, others more exposed, more number of years. So naturally, those who are more number of years, they will know things more. And then some people they might have spent more time from the past lives, right? So therefore, in this life, they learn faster. So if you also want to become like them, study more this life. Next time, next life, you can become an outstanding girl, outstanding boy, right? So if you really want to be like somebody who learns so fast, you can also study so well in this life. So next life, people will be fascinated to see you, right? So this is what you can do. Okay. So with this warning, sometimes we may slip into a little bit of technicalities. With the technicalities, I will tell you one thing. Okay, even if you think that, okay, this is not really relevant, it doesn't matter. Just in the class, whether you like it or not, you cannot go out. So just pay attention, right? Pay attention, and then when you leave, forget, it's fine. Even if it slips from my mind, I don't care, right? Just maintain this attitude. In the class, pay attention. Pay attention, believe it or not, you will implant a very profound, deep imprints. And I'm saying this, for example, yesterday I was talking to Sonamla, and Sonam was talking about Dutta. And Dutta, there's no comparison, I'm saying this. Dutta is a very good thing, but Dutta is a very small, 1 part of 100% of what is being here. This is a huge subject. And how I'm going to take you is that you will get something, believe it or not. You'll get something, and when you leave this course, then you try to see what he said. You may not recollect anything. But you study the next time, listen to the recordings once more, you'll be fascinated. You have learned a lot. And then if you do the same course with somebody who did not do it before, you see that you are so familiar to this, you already know so many things, you can see that. So these are things, assurance that I'm giving you, not just a blind assurance, not just a false assurance, but a real assurance that will actually happen to you. Okay. Okay, now continue reading from page 1. I will read and you listen. The last 2 lines. These profound words of salutation, penned. So because it is not in bold, this is my words. My words after my translation. Profound words of salutation penned by Acharya Dharmakirti, 6th century Common Era, who was considered to be the father of Buddhist logic, were perceived as sublime by Acharya Dharmakirti, 7th century Common Era, himself a great logician and philosopher saint. On apprehending them meaning these two lines, the desire or the wish arose in Acharya Dharmakirti to be involved in the salutation passage, these two lines, and thereby inspired him to compose an entire chapter based on them, these two lines, chapter 2 of the Pramanavartika. The chapter reveals, chapter 2, reveals a plethora of rich and intricate principles of logic and epistemology that underscores the salient features of Buddhist metaphysical thought on critical topics such as rebirth, nirvana, and Buddhahood, and so forth, which otherwise would forever have remained concealed. Meaning that, Buddhahood, nirvana, yes, Buddhahood, nirvana, is more like blind faith, not being able to gain conviction. So this text will give us conviction as to how Buddhahood, nirvana, these two are possible. The Pramanavartika, especially its second chapter, has tremendous implication for the practice of Buddhism. An understanding of it convinces the practitioner of the rationality underlying the teachings of the Buddha, and consequently advances her practice to a deeper level. Advances her practice, not his. You know why? Because my editor is a girl. Yeah. So the editor changed it, his to her. Yeah. Okay, never mind, it doesn't matter. It's both his or her. Reference number 1. Okay, now reference number. So this reference number, they are all added. Reference number is purely added by me to make easy how to use this text. To make easy for in the monastic universities, reference numbers, they are totally unrelated in the monastic universities, because all these texts, they are by heart. In the debate, if you don't know how to correlate all these texts by heart, nobody will debate with you. Right? First, they will ask you, okay, they will just say a line, not from the root text. Root text, everybody takes for granted you know that by heart. They will pick up some words from the commentary. They will ask you this word came from where. Then you have to say exact commentary. They will say, and then ask you to recite the earlier words from the commentary. You have to recite it by heart. If you cannot recite it, they will stop there. They will not debate with you at all. If you're able to recite, then they will ask you what is the correlation between this word and the root text. What's the correlation? How to explain this? How to connect this word with the root text? Then you explain this. Once explained well, then the opponent will ask you, do you agree with what is said in this commentary and the root text? Do you agree? So your job is to say yes. The moment you say yes, which means you have to defend what is said there in the commentary. Then they will penetrate deeper to ask questions, to challenge you with different questions. And if you see that these questions make you defenseless, you cannot defend the position anymore, then you know what are the loopholes within your understanding. Loopholes. Then your job is to learn more. Then you ask the same question to somebody else, and the smarter person may be able to give the answer. Then you are able to fill up these loopholes. This is how you grow. Okay, so whereas for us, root text by heart is not possible. So correlate. If the root text is not by heart, we correlating all these things is not easy. So to correlate for easy, the made easy. So I have added these reference numbers. That make your work very easy. Okay, how? I'll give you one example. First, it says reference number 1. This chapter has 2 parts. So 2 parts. These are the outlines which I took from Khedrupa Rinpoche's commentary. Outlines. All these outlines are not from the root text. They are the outlines which are very helpful, the guidelines as to what the content matter of these root texts are all about. It says, number 1, establishing the omniscient one as the reliable, omniscient one meaning the Buddha as the reliable guide to Buddhahood. It says cross-reference number 2. Cross-reference number 2, which means that, okay, so where is this? Where can I find this in detail? Then go to reference number 2. Where is reference number 2? Just immediately below. Then again, under reference number 1, there are 2 sections. Section number 2. What's the section number 2? Under reference number 1, there is 2 sections. What is the second section number 2? The purpose of praising the Buddha for having transformed into the reliable guide. So this way can I find this if I want to study more? Where can I find this? You have to go to reference number 142. Let us go. Where is the reference number 142? Where is number 142? Page 76. Okay, let's say page 76. 142, yes. Page 76. So when you say go to reference number, then you just go to the extreme right side of the page. No, left side of the page. Reference number 142. So this says second. Which second? Second from the way we have the red. Page number 2. Page number 2 is the second reference or the first one? Second one. So it says, second, the purpose of practicing the Buddha, praising the Buddha for having transformed into the reliable guide. So suddenly if you see this, now, so there are 2 things. One is that, okay, where this came from? You want to know where this section, where did it come from? From where? Then you have to go to reference number 1. You go back. So you can go back and go forth. Once you know how to use this, it's so easy for you. It's so easy and extremely beneficial. Then it's so like you get the body of the chapter 2 in your palm. It becomes very easy. Okay. Okay, it's lunchtime. We'll stop here. Tirtha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha Tirtha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha Tyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha